Obviously, you headlined 102. What has the difference been like media-wise, fighting in the UK as opposed to fighting in America?
I think it's been a little harder because most of my training camp happened in the States, and a lot of the media outlets that wanted to reach me and communicate with me are over here, and the time change is sometimes hard to coordinate, but we still managed to get a lot of that done. So I think that was a little more challenging, but still, I think it's still been good. It's been good, some good exposure. And
what's general acceptance is that the Americans, the mainstream and the press over there are a bit more educated on the sport than the guys are over here. Do you find you're talking to people in more of a layman's term when the British press are actually talking to you?
No, I didn't find that at all. I felt like the people that I interviewed had a pretty good understanding of what we did, and they didn't have to go back and kind of answer questions that I haven't answered in 8 years or anything like that. They seemed to have a pretty good understanding of what we're about, and it wasn't bad at all.
The difference between, you're preparing to fight, in the UK, at the end of your training camp, how does it work out for you to, travelling, especially now you're cutting back to 205? Has it caused a problem with your weight cut or acclimatising?
It hasn't caused any trouble, but it was definitely something you have to think about. And having competed in the 90s here in wrestling in Europe, dealt with that jet lag and that travel, and I had to make weight for those events too, and so I've kind of experienced that, and kind of knew what to expect and what I was in for. So I think that helped me out. I know it's been 10 plus years since I've done that, but dusted off the old plastics and kind of knew that first day or two is the most important day as far as getting established in the sleep pattern here and fight time. And needed to make sure I got my workouts in at night at fight time, and it felt real good.
So your body clock's fully adjusted, you're ready and set to go now?
Yeah, I wouldn't say fully adjusted, but I feel good. I had a great workout last night, and I'm going to have another workout again tonight at 10 o'clock. That's when I got to be up and energized in fight time. So, that's around noon at home, so it's a normal time to be awake and ready to go. I mean, after workout last night, I was only 4.5, 5 pounds over.
Oh, that's good.
So, I'm walking around at about 10 pounds over. I'll cut that Friday and water weight, and dry out a little and rehydrate and be ready to go Saturday.
Would you expect at fight time to be going in at about the same weight as you'd fight heavyweight, 220, 225?
No, I won't be that heavy.
Bit small.
It'll be 216, 217 probably. Right. I weighed in for Nogueira at 220, so 220, 3-4 pounds difference.
Brandon used to fight heavyweight as well, but you're both guys that can make the switch and have done successfully. Will it be different moving around a smaller body as opposed to like Nogueira, who's a genuine heavyweight, Brock, who's obviously a huge heavyweight? Will it be different? Have you prepared for smaller guys? Or?
Yeah, absolutely different. I think there's just certain situations and positions you don't want to be in with guys that size. Getting stuck on the bottom and thinking you're going to play a bottom game with the guys that big. I mean, they're going to beat the crap out of you. So learning to scramble, stay out of some of those situations. Shooting, and clinching with guys that size is different too. Technically and tactically, you have to play that differently when they're that size. Standing in front of guys like that, not that I want to stand in front of Brandon, but standing in front of, a guy like Brock. I mean, obviously he caught me behind the ear with a shot that I thought I'd slipped. I mean, they're just big guys. There's little room for error there.
Big club hands that can catch you anywhere.
Tactically, not that I haven't still had to think about some of those situations and things with Brandon. It's horsepower is a lot less of an issue with a guy my own size.
Has it been different to prepare specifically for a guy who's known as a striker? Has it been more boxing? You've been tired?
I've still focused on and have for the last few years on my striking, because again, I think the better my striking is, the easier and the better it's going to allow me to use my wrestling to close the distance, to protect myself, to get my hands on the guy. I have spent the last 6 months working with Neil Melanson, one of our grappling coaches, and kind of refined and changed a lot of things in my ground game and my ground tactics, and looking forward to putting some of that to use in this fight. So I definitely need to effectively use my striking and footwork and all those things to be able to close the distance and get in Brandon's face and put pressure on Brandon and ultimately get my hands on him.
46, you're still looking to evolve as a fighter. You're not trying to slow down in terms of skill set. You're still trying to expand your skill set all the time.
I have to. I think that's one of the things that I love about the sport is being, and there's so many different facets to this sport and so many different things to learn and get better at. You never, you can't cover it all. So finding things that I think fit me and that attract me and yeah, I think when I'm done learning, I'm probably done competing and done winning.
After this fight, sort of win or lose, I mean, you want to be on the comeback trail for a title fight at 205. If you win this, how many fights away from said title fight do you think you'll be?
I have no idea. It's
Just
kind
gotta
of,
wait and see.
yeah, you know, the guys at the UFC and Zuffa make those decisions, and it probably depends on how impressive that is and how they feel about it. And, you know, obviously, Leota's hurt right now.
Yeah.
He's going to be out for probably 6 months, potentially. I don't want to wait 6 more months to fight just because it's him and the title. I want to fight and fight interesting guys.
Yeah.
Shogun looked great against him. He'd be a great fight. There's a lot of tough guys at 205. There's some great guys at heavyweight, too. So, you know, we'll go where the opportunities are.
You always talk about it's the intrigue of a fight, you know, that gets you going. You want to be intrigued by opponents, and you want opponents that pose different tasks to you. On the way up to the top of the ladder, to the #1 spot at light heavyweight, who are the guys that you think could pose the most intriguing tasks to you?
Well, obviously, I haven't looked past Brandon, but I've been very intrigued by Leota's style. You know, I'm questioning whether Anderson Silva is going to hang around at 205 or stay down. If he's going to foray back up into the 205-pound weight class, he's obviously a very interesting fight, and somebody who's been on fire for the last couple of years. There's a ton of interesting guys. Shogun's coming off of a great performance, a couple of great performances, really. So there's a lot of interesting guys there.
What about Tito's return? Would that be something that interested you?
If people wanted to see that, you know, we did our thing, and you know, if we need to do it again, but he's always an interesting fight. He's a tough guy, so he's got his hands full with Forrest.
Yeah, true.